900,000 men. That is how many soldiers, agents, informants, and executioners answered directly to one man in October 1944. He controls the SS, the Gestapo, the secret police, the concentration camps, the replacement army, 2 million additional soldiers on paper, filling every barracks and training depot left in the Reich. His name is Heinrich Himmler. And right now, at this moment, he is lying on a massage table in a concrete bunker in the forests of East Prussia. Eyes closed, stomach cramping, waiting for the only man on earth who can make the pain stop. 35 Delta Force operators are in those woods tonight. They carry suppressed HK-416 rifles, thermal optics, night vision, encrypted comms, and 48 hours of operational window before the next scheduled inspection shuts this corridor down for good. Their mission is not to kill Himmler. That would be simple. A single 308 round from 800 meters. Done. Their mission is to take him alive. And that changes everything. Here is what you need to understand about Heinrich Himmler in the autumn of 1944. He is not a general. He is not a frontline commander. He is something far more dangerous. He is a bureaucrat with the keys to every locked door in the Third Reich. By October of that year, Himmler holds more titles and more raw institutional power than any figure in Nazi Germany besides Hitler himself. Reichsführer SS since 1929, when the organization had fewer than 300 men. Minister of the Interior since August 1943. Commander of the Replacement Army since July 1944. A post he seized after the Stauffenberg bomb plot failed to kill Hitler on July 20th. That explosion, which detonated 6 feet from the Führer inside the Wolf's Lair conference room, did not kill its target. But it killed something else. It killed whatever remained of trust between Adolf Hitler and the German military establishment. Himmler stepped into that vacuum like a man who had been waiting his entire life for the door to open. And in a sense, he had. By October, Himmler's apparatus is staggering in scale. The Waffen-SS fields nearly 40 combat divisions across 2 fronts. The Allgemeine SS administers the camp system, Auschwitz, Treblinka, Sobibor, Majdanek, Ravensbrück, names that will haunt the century. The Sicherheitsdienst, the SD, runs foreign and domestic intelligence. The Gestapo operates in every occupied city from Oslo to Athens. And Himmler personally oversees prisoner of war operations for the entire Wehrmacht. Now think about this for a second. This is one man, not a committee, not a ministry. One man, and the web of terror he built over 15 years. And where does this man sleep at night? Not in Berlin, which is being bombed to rubble by the Royal Air Force. Not at the Wolf's Lair, which belongs to Hitler. Himmler has his own fortress. It is called Feldkommandostelle Hochwald, Field Command Post High Forest, and it sits in a dense woodland near the village of Possession, roughly 20 kilometers east of Hitler's headquarters in the Masurian Lake district of East Prussia. Hochwald was built in 1941 by the organization TOT. Concrete bunkers, reinforced walls 2 meters thick, barbed wire perimeters stretching 800 meters in every direction. Minefields, guard towers. The entire compound is invisible from the air, buried under a canopy of pine and birch that has not been cut since construction began. SS Obersturmbannführer Josef Tiefenbacher commands the security detail, roughly 200 SS and police escort troops who rotate in 12-hour shifts, patrol the perimeter with dogs, and answer to no one but the Reichsführer himself. Himmler also travels with his personal mobile headquarters, the Sonderzug Steiermark, a special armored train with anti-aircraft cars, communications equipment, sleeping quarters, and a dedicated rail siding that connects directly to the Hochwald compound. When the Reichsführer moves, the train moves. When the train stops, an additional ring of security deploys around it. Past assassination attempts on Nazi leadership have failed spectacularly. Stauffenberg's bomb, the closest anyone got, detonated inside a reinforced conference room, and still did not kill the target. After July 20th, security around every senior Nazi figure was tripled. Food tasters, random schedule changes, doubled guard rotations. The paranoia is real, and Himmler, the man who runs the security apparatus itself, is perhaps the most paranoid of them all. So how do 35 operators even begin? The team is 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta, the unit the world knows as Delta Force. 35 operators organized into 3 assault elements and 1 command and surveillance element. Each man carries a suppressed HK-416 with subsonic 5. 56 rounds, no muzzle flash visible beyond 15 meters in darkness. Sidearms are SIG P320s with threaded barrels. Comms run through AN/PRC 152 radios with frequency hopping encryption that no technology in 1944 can intercept or even detect. 4 operators carry PVS-31 binocular night vision goggles paired with FLIR thermal scopes. They can see body heat through walls, through foliage, through the October fog that rolls in from the Masurian lakes every night after midnight. They have 2 RQ-11 Raven drones for overhead reconnaissance and 1 Switchblade 300 loitering munition. A kamikaze drone the size of a rolled newspaper that can eliminate a single target from 3 kilometers with surgical precision. They will not use it unless the mission collapses. It is insurance. But the technology is only half the edge. The other half is knowledge. In 2013, 69 years after the events of this operation, a collection of documents was discovered in the archives of the Russian Ministry of Defense in Podolsk, outside Moscow. They had been sitting there since the Red Army seized them from German installations around Berlin in 1945. These documents were Himmler's service diaries, his Dienstkalender, meticulously kept by his personal secretaries. They record, in sometimes minute-by-minute detail, his daily schedule from 1938 through 1944, what he ate, where he slept, who he met, when he placed phone calls to his daughter Gudrun, whom he called Puppy, every few days without fail, when he watched films, when he played cards, when he stared at the stars, and when he received his massages. Stay with me. This is where it gets interesting. Felix Kersten was born in 1898 in Dorpat, today Tartu, Estonia. He trained as a physical therapist in Helsinki, then studied under a Chinese therapeutic masseur named Dr. Ko in Berlin. By the 1930s, Kersten had built a reputation among European aristocracy as a healer with extraordinary hands. He treated Prince Hendrik of the Netherlands. He treated Count Ciano, Mussolini's son-in-law. In March 1939, an industrialist named Gustav Dien introduced Kersten to Heinrich Himmler. The Reichsführer SS suffered from chronic severe stomach cramps, abdominal spasms so intense they sometimes rendered him unconscious. No conventional doctor had been able to help. Kersten's first session provided immediate relief. Within weeks, Himmler declared him indispensable. From that point forward, Felix Kersten became the only civilian in the Third Reich with unrestricted daily private access to Heinrich Himmler. The sessions happened every day, sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times. Himmler would lie on a table, no uniform jacket, no belt, no sidearm. His personal guards waited outside the door. Kersten's hands worked the muscles of his abdomen, his lower back, his diaphragm. Himmler talked during these sessions. He confided. He rambled. He became, in those minutes, not the Reichsführer SS, but a man in pain, grateful for relief. Himmler himself joked about it darkly. He once told an aide that every time Kersten treated him, it cost him 1 pardon, because Kersten used his influence to negotiate the release of prisoners from the camps. The diaries confirm all of it: times, dates, duration, location, the guards outside, the room inside, the vulnerability. No one in 1944 sees this as a security gap, because no one in 1944 is thinking about the massage therapist. But the 35 operators in the woods have read those diaries, documents that will not be discovered for another 7 decades. They know the exact schedule. They know the room. They know the guard rotation. They know that at approximately 1400 hours on an October Tuesday, Himmler will be lying on his back in a windowless room inside Bunker 3 at Hochwald, with one unarmed Finnish-Estonian civilian applying pressure to his stomach and 2 SS guards standing in the hallway 12 meters away. That is the crack. Day 1. 0200 hours, 18 kilometers southeast of Hochwald. The insertion happens on foot. No helicopters. The sound signature would trigger a response from every anti-aircraft battery between here and Rastenburg. The team crosses the outer security perimeter of the Masurian restricted zone in 3 groups of 10, plus a 5-man command element carrying the drone control station and long-range communications. October in East Prussia. The cold is specific, not the dry cold of mountain altitude, but the wet, seeping cold of lake country and old forest. 5 degrees Celsius. Frost on the fern leaves. The ground is soft from 2 weeks of autumn rain, which helps. Footprints absorb quickly, and the sound of movement is masked by dripping water and creaking branches. By 0430, Alpha element reaches the outer minefield perimeter. The Raven drone has been in the air for 40 minutes, mapping the compound from 300 meters. Thermal imaging counts 112 heat signatures inside the Hochwald compound, guards, staff, signals personnel, Himmler's personal entourage. 73 of them are stationary, sleeping. 39 are moving. Patrol routes, guard changes, a cook who appears to be starting breakfast prep in the mess bunker. The minefields are the first problem. 800 meters of them in a rough circle. Anti-personnel mines, shrapnel mine 35, the German bouncing Betty, buried in a pattern that no 1944 attacker could map without triggering one first. But the Raven's thermal camera shows ground disturbances from 2. 7 years of seasonal freeze-thaw cycles. The mines have shifted, some have surfaced slightly. The team marks a lane 90 centimeters wide through the northeast sector, where ground erosion has exposed and likely disabled a stretch of approximately 40 meters. It takes 2 hours to clear and verify. 2 hours of a man on his hands and knees with a probe and a penlight, feeling for the edge of a metal casing that was buried before his father was born. By 0700, Alpha element is through the minefield and positioned in tree cover 200 meters from the compound's eastern barbed wire fence. Bravo element has circled north to cover the rail siding where the Sonderzug Steiermark sits on its dedicated track. The diesel engine cold, the anti-aircraft crews asleep in their compartments. Charlie element holds the southern approach, covering the single road that connects Hochwald to the main highway toward Angerburg. The command element sets up 1,200 meters east, on a forested rise with line of sight to the compound's radio antenna. One operator carries a portable electronic warfare kit, not to jam signals yet, but to monitor them. Every transmission in and out of Hochwald is now being captured. Then they wait. Waiting is the hardest part of any operation. The body cools, the mind drifts, the forest sounds, which seemed silent at first, become a symphony of small terrors. A branch snaps, a bird calls at the wrong time. A guard's flashlight sweeps across the tree line 300 meters away, and 35 men stop breathing simultaneously. Hour 6, hour 8, hour 10. At 11:30, the Raven confirms movement in the main compound. A vehicle arrives, a staff car, Wehrmacht plates, carrying 2 officers who enter the command bunker. At 11:47, a figure emerges from Bunker 3. The thermal signature shows a man in a long coat, walking slowly, accompanied by 2 guards. He crosses the courtyard to the mess bunker. Himmler is having lunch. The diaries said he would. October 1944. Lunch at approximately 11:45, usually in the officers' mess, sometimes a working meal with aides. Duration, 40 to 60 minutes. At 12:43, the figure returns to Bunker 3. At 13:55, a second figure enters the bunker, shorter, broader, No military bearing. He carries what appears to be a small case. Kirsten. The session will last between 30 and 90 minutes. The diaries vary, but the minimum, the absolute minimum, is 30 minutes, during which Himmler will be lying down, undressed to the waist, in a room with one door, no windows, and no armed guards inside. At 1400, the order comes through bone conduction earpieces. 3 words: execute, execute, execute. Alpha element moves first. 2 operators cut the barbed wire at the northeast corner with insulated bolt cutters. No sound, no spark. A 4-man stack enters the compound and advances along the east wall of the signals bunker, staying below the sight line of the guard tower 40 meters to the south. Their thermal scopes show 2 guards at the entrance to Bunker 3, both standing, both armed with MP-40 submachine guns. The suppressed HK-416s fire from 18 meters, subsonic rounds. The sound is no louder than a hardcover book falling on a wooden floor. Both guards drop. 4 seconds. Bravo element hits the rail siding simultaneously. The Sonderzug Steiermark has a crew of 14. Engineers, signalmen, 2 anti-aircraft gunners who are currently playing cards in the mess car. The operators board from both ends. The crew is restrained with flex cuffs and gagged with medical tape in under 90 seconds. One engineer reaches for a signal flare. He doesn't make it. Charlie Element cuts the telephone line connecting Hochwald to the external Wehrmacht switchboard at Rastenburg. The electronic warfare kit begins jamming all radio frequencies within a 3-kilometer radius. Hochwald is now deaf and mute. 42 seconds since the first shot. Inside Bunker 3, the assault team reaches the corridor. The concrete walls are cold to the touch. Even in summer, these bunkers stay below 12 degrees. The air smells of diesel exhaust from the backup generators and something else. Antiseptic, medical, the massage room. The door is wooden, not reinforced. This is a treatment room, not a command center. One operator reaches for the handle, turns it, pushes. The room is small, 4 meters by 3. A padded table in the center. A lamp on a stand. Electric, not oil, powered by the bunker's generator. A coat rack with a black SS tunic hanging from it. The silver Totenkopf on the cap catches the light. Himmler is on the table, face up, eyes closed. His shirt is removed. His stomach, pale, soft, the stomach of a desk officer, rises and falls slowly. Kirsten stands beside him, hands working the muscles below the ribcage. Kirsten sees the operators first. 4 men in black, faces covered, weapons drawn. He freezes. His hands stop. Himmler's eyes open. There is a moment, perhaps 2 seconds, when the most powerful security chief in European history stares at 4 figures that should not exist. The equipment, the optics, the silence of their weapons. Nothing in his experience provides a category for what he is seeing. He does not scream. He does not reach for a weapon. He does not move. He says one word, in German, quietly. Kirsten, as if the masseur might explain this, as if this might be a dream triggered by the stomach cramps, as if reality has not yet registered. The lead operator responds in rehearsed German, simple, direct. Reichsführer, Sie kommen mit uns, leise. You are coming with us, quietly. Himmler is pulled from the table, dressed in his tunic, hands bound in front, flex cuffs, not rope, because the intel says he has arthritis in his left wrist, and rope might cause nerve damage they do not want. They need him functional. They need him talking. Kirsten is left in the room, unbound. He is told, in English, to wait 15 minutes before leaving. He will later tell multiple conflicting versions of this story to anyone who will listen. None of them will be believed. 3 minutes and 40 seconds. That is how long the interior operation takes from breach to extraction. Himmler is moved through the corridor, out the east entrance, across 70 meters of open ground to the barbed wire gap. Then the alarm goes off. Not from Bunker 3, from the mess bunker. A cook, the same cook who was up at Oro 4:30, has walked outside for a cigarette and seen the bodies of the 2 guards. He runs inside. He hits a manual siren. The sound is mechanical, hand-cranked, and it tears through the compound like a wounded animal. 48 seconds. That is the response time the team planned for. They get 41. SS personnel pour out of the barracks bunker. 15, 20, 25 men, some fully dressed, some pulling on boots, all reaching for weapons. They have no idea what is happening. No communications, no radio, no telephone. No officers giving orders, because the senior officer in the compound is currently being carried through a gap in the barbed wire by men he cannot identify. Charlie Element opens suppressing fire from the southern tree line. Not to kill, to fix, to keep heads down for 90 seconds while Alpha Element clears the minefield lane with Himmler between 2 operators, his feet barely touching the ground. Bravo Element fires the Sonderzug's diesel engine. The train lurches forward on the rail siding, not toward Rastenburg, but east, toward a junction 6 kilometers away, where the track splits toward the Lithuanian border. The train is a diversion. It will run for 4 kilometers, then the operators will bail and link up at Rally Point Echo. 18 minutes after the breach, the compound is behind them. Himmler is moving through the forest on foot, flanked by 6 operators. He is breathing hard. He is not a physical man. The diaries record that he insisted on a daily massage and a nap after lunch. This is a man who has not run in years. He stumbles, falls, is pulled up. He speaks, not to beg, not to bargain, not yet. He asks where they are taking him. No one answers. But here is the thing they did not plan for. The thing no diary could have predicted. Himmler stops walking. In the middle of a forest in East Prussia, at approximately 14:30 hours, with 6 armed operators surrounding him and the sound of distant gunfire still echoing from the compound, Heinrich Himmler stops. He does not try to run. He does not resist. He makes an offer. He says he can give them something better than himself. He says he has been thinking about this, about the end, for months. He says he has already made contact with Count Volker Bernadotte of the Swedish Red Cross. He says he can negotiate a surrender of the Western Front. He says he can order the camps evacuated. He says he knows where the remaining V2 rocket facilities are. He says he knows where the uranium research is happening. He says he is more valuable as an ally than as a prisoner. And the team leader, a man who has studied this target for weeks, who has read the diaries, who knows what this man has done and ordered done in places called Auschwitz and Treblinka and Sobibor, has to make a decision. Because Himmler is not wrong, not entirely. In the real timeline, Himmler did contact Bernadotte in April 1945. He did offer to surrender. He did order the gassing stopped. In November 1944, 1 month from now, in the timeline, the operators have left behind. That order was real. It was also widely disobeyed by Ernst Kaltenbrunner and Adolf Eichmann, who continued the killing regardless. So the question becomes, is a living, cooperative Himmler more valuable than a captured, silenced one? The team leader does not answer the question. He does not have the authority. He has a mission: capture and extract. The policy decisions belong to someone else, in a room that does not exist yet, in a future that may never come. Himmler is told to keep walking. He walks. The extraction takes 11 more hours, overland, through forest and farmland and across 2 rivers that are too cold and too fast for a 54-year-old man in dress shoes. Himmler develops hypothermia. The team medic wraps him in a mylar blanket, a technology that will not be invented for another 14 years. By midnight, they reach the coast of the Curonian Lagoon, where a rigid-hull inflatable boat is waiting at a pre-staged cache point. Himmler is loaded aboard. He is shivering. He is silent now. 35 operators, 0 killed, 4 wounded, shrapnel from a grenade thrown blindly by an SS guard during the compound firefight. One operator has a through and through in his left calf. He walked 11 hours on it without complaint. Himmler is alive, captured, out of the Reich. But what have they actually accomplished? Think about it. Remove Himmler from the equation in October 1944, and the SS does not simply collapse. It is too large, too distributed, too ideologically committed. Kaltenbrunner takes over security operations, and Kaltenbrunner is, by every account, more fanatical and less pragmatic than Himmler ever was. Eichmann continues the transports. The camps continue to operate. The war continues. And the one man who, in the real timeline, would eventually order the gassing stopped. The one man who would reach out to the Swedish Red Cross. The one man who would try to negotiate because he wanted to save his own skin. That man is gone. Removed. Sitting in a holding facility somewhere outside the Reich, being interrogated about things he will freely discuss because he has always believed, fundamentally, that he was right. History remembers Himmler as a monster. He was. But he was also, in the final months, the monster who blinked. The monster who calculated that cooperation might save him. The monster who, cynically, selfishly, without a shred of moral courage, gave the order to stop killing. Without him, does anyone give that order? The answer almost certainly is no. So here is the final question. Could 35 modern operators capture Heinrich Himmler at Hochwald in October 1944? Based on the technology gap, the intelligence advantage from the diaries, the Kersten vulnerability, and the compound's relative isolation, yes, the operation is feasible. The breach window is real. The extraction route is viable. But should they? That is a different question, and it is the one that matters. Capturing the architect of the Holocaust sounds like justice. It sounds like the right thing. But history is not a movie. Removing one man from a machine he built does not stop the machine. It might make the machine worse. Because the man you removed was flawed enough, weak enough, scared enough to eventually pump the brakes. And the men who replace him are not. Would you make that call? Would you pull the most dangerous bureaucrat in history off a massage table in East Prussia, knowing that his removal might cost more lives than his capture could ever save? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you think a different target, a different moment, a different war would change the calculus, tell us which one. Like and subscribe if you want to see more operations like this. We have 30 scenarios planned, and the next one is even harder, because some missions succeed tactically and fail historically. And that might be the most terrifying thing about war. The question is never just, can you? It is always, should you?